Our friend Glenn Beck had a party last week where a couple of people came, and it varies. I mean, no matter how you slice it, a lot of people went. Whether you go with his 500,000 or the media's 300,000, it doesn't really matter. To get a lot of people in one place is an accomplishment. What he does with them is nuts, but they were there, and I don't think we needed confirmation that there were at least 300,000 crazy people in America. But the measure for what kind of a crowd it is, and as is always the case, is the kind of garbage they leave behind. Let's go to clip 3, Jesus. If we could play clip number 3, and this is Glenn Beck talking about the really important parts of his rally.
After 500,000 people left the mall area, here's what it looked like hours after you left. 500,000 people. Look at the green space. Do you see any? I don't see an awful lot of, garbage. Now let's compare that with how the crowd looked and what they left after the inauguration last, a year and a half ago in D.C. Do you notice any difference? America, which are you?
Right. Are you a polluting fan of a presidential inauguration, or are you a neat wacko? The line is drawn. It's exactly, it's a black and white, clear-cut question. Which of the two are you? It's just absurd. There are a lot of things that Glenn Beck can talk about. The amount of trash at an inauguration, which arguably had many, many, many more people, and probably many more vendors, and probably many more things for sale, versus an entire day full of peaceful marchers. I don't understand what it is, but of course I always look at the veiled racism therein. So I think that he is saying there were a lot of black Americans here listening to President Obama be sworn in, and they littered. Are you going to be with the black Americans who littered, or are you going to be with this lily white crowd that was here the other day and apparently kept the place a little neater? And so another disgusting utterance from Glenn Beck, but it's what you expect.
Yeah, Michael, I hesitate anytime that there's these racial undertones, etc., because I'm worried that people throw around the word racist too often, etc. So I don't want to call it racist, but at the same time, I know where you're going with this, because I want people to think about it this way. Is there a stereotype out there that liberals are dirty? Not really, right? I mean, they've got 100 different stereotypes for liberals, according to Beck and Limbaugh and those guys, but being dirty isn't really one of them. The idea here is, if you're law and order, law-abiding, good white folks, you clean up after yourself. But, the black people who came for Obama's inauguration, you know how they are, right?
Exactly.
I mean, look, if there's another stereotype for liberals, etc., that I'm not seeing and he's just throwing dirt on them, okay, well then, whatever. Then that's not that big a deal. I mean, as it is, it's not that big a deal, but it's just an interesting view into his mindset, right? And so, but if there is something on liberals I'm missing, then hit me with that. But otherwise, it seems like he's doing yet another needless, subtext dig at this racial issue.
Yeah, and it's more than that. It undermines his mission. I mean, his mission is not about, in this case, this isn't about the garbage at his rally. I mean, make a selection by who left the place neater. Decide who you want to be with because these people left the place a little cleaner than the other people. And also the completely unscientific way that he presented that. I don't know. There may have been a ban on any kind of garbage collection after the inauguration, not letting any trucks into the Capitol area until a day or two afterwards because there were the balls and there was the security, et cetera, et cetera. And we don't know anything here, so there's no empirical evidence that one rally was neater than the other. But the point is, it doesn't matter. I mean, that has nothing to do with anything. It has nothing to do even with his argument about why his rally was important. It's not because they're neater. That's not what he's advocating.
Yeah, and look, I thought your first point was the best one, Michael. I mean, for the inauguration, obviously there's going to be 1,000 vendors there ready for that occasion, selling stuff like plastic bottles and hot dog wrappers, etc., that are going to be part of that. Beck's was a one-time event, so the chance that many vendors rolled in was certainly less so. Would that explain the garbage better than anything else? Almost certainly.
Yeah. You know, and again, we're not speaking with any evidence about that either. We don't know how many people were selling things yesterday or how many people were selling things on that freezing inauguration. The point is, this doesn't matter. This is not why he's presenting it as who would you rather be with? Who pick your side here? I mean, you're not picking. If that's the truth, if you want us to be picking a side based upon who was neater on the Washington Mall, that's absurd. That just takes your argument and your position and your passions and throws them down where I think they deserve to be in the first place.